All right, we're now welcomed by one of the top shooters in college basketball, sharpshooter for the Creighton Blue Jays, Mitch Ballock. But Mitch, before we get to basketball, you are a native of Kansas City, and you recently saw the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl. What was that like for a kid from KC?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Obviously, 50 years running, we haven't been there, we haven't won one. So we went to the AFC Championship game. My teammates and I actually, Coach Mack let us take the trip down there. So we went to the AFC Championship game, and it was probably one of the craziest sporting events I've ever attended. It was unbelievable.
Well, if you're a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, you're obviously a fan of Patrick Mahomes. But my well-embedded moles tell me that Mitch Ballock has got a pretty big Rolodex. I hear you're pretty tight with Steph Curry. What is the Mitch Ballock-Steph Curry relationship like?
Honestly, I haven't talked to Steph in a few years. When I was coming up in high school, we had a good relationship. I kind of pick his brain and text him just about anything. He gave me his number. If you need anything, let me know. And then I remember I was in Oklahoma City when he played the Thunder, and he left me, my friends and I, some tickets. And then he came to Kansas City for an exhibition game, and he left my family some tickets and hung around for 45 minutes after the game, just talking to us and just kind of talking about whatever. And I texted him about his family when he had his second kid, and he's just really open, really outgoing dude. But since then, I haven't talked to him in a couple of years now. So just kind of leave him be and let him win, and do what he does.
But you're obviously an aspiring basketball player. You're a star in the Big East. You're a double-digit scorer for a team that has a chance to go far in the NCAA tournament. What's the biggest thing you learned from being around Steph Curry that you've implemented into your own lifestyle as you aspire to continue to get better at basketball?
Just the level of preparation. Everybody sees what he does off the court and on the court. Everybody sees him shooting 30-footers, and his skill set's just on a whole nother level. Especially for his size, he's not very physically gifted. Average he is, but not in the NBA. So when you see the preparation and everything he puts into the game, especially in the film room, I didn't realize he watched that much film. He understands how to get to his spots and what works on the defensive end and on the offensive end, and then he just keeps elevating his game with his trainers. So it's really cool just to see his everyday approach to everyday life, whether it's coming to breakfast, being on time to the gym, getting your work in, and just watching all those things. It was really cool just to see how a pro and a guy at that level, obviously one of the best guards in the game, just to see how he takes his approach to everyday life was just off the charts, and I learned a lot from that.
Well, and part of any successful athlete or anybody in life is people who can move forward to the next task after not performing their best. Your team did not play its best on Sunday in a loss against St. John's. What was the dialogue like in Creighton's locker room after that defeat?
After the game, games like that happen. You try to avoid them. But Coach Mack said something at the beginning of the year. He's like, a third of the games you play really well. A third of the games you don't play your best, but you got to figure out to win. And then a third of your games you have games like St. John's. But as long as you can figure out other ways when shots aren't falling and stuff like that to impact the game and win the game, then we try and do that. Obviously, St. John's was a tough one, and we fell. But the dialogue in the locker room was like, it doesn't kill us, like. In perspective, obviously we wanted to win the game. We wanted to be in the driver's seat in the Big East, but we're still in a good position right now going forward into postseason play. And hopefully we can finish these two games off the way we want, and kind of just a head up mentality, like on to the next one, learn from it and just take things from it. Don't completely push it under the rug, but learn a couple things and be better next time. So that's basically what the dialogue was.
You mentioned Creighton head coach Greg McDermott, who has solidified himself over the last decade as one of the top offensive minds in our sports. What's the best thing for playing for him at Creighton?
Yeah, I talk about him all the time on the offensive end. He's unbelievable. Playing for him, he's a really good player's coach. Like if I have something to say and I see something, then I can go to him with it, and he has that trust in me, and I have that trust in him that we can have that conversation mid-game or after the game or before the game, like, hey, I think this will work, and he'll implement that. Also, just the freestyle, free flow of offense. He allows us just to be basketball players. We're not robotic. We're not like running through plays in the system. We're all just kind of using our abilities to the best of our ability and playing off one another's strengths. And I think when we do that, we can we're at our best, and Coach Mack allows us a lot of freedom to do so.
Well, you mentioned obviously that he's one of the great offensive coaches in the sport, and he gives you a lot of freedom. But for those things to work at a high level, you still need really good players. And in addition to yourself on Creighton's perimeter, you've got two terrific guards in Marcus Zagorowski and Tyshawn Alexander. Why has this trio been so in sync together this season?
I would say the number one reason is just no one has their own agenda. Our agenda is for the betterment of the team and for the success of the team. No one really is going out there. No one has an ego. No one's going out there trying to get 20 points. It just happens in the flow of the offense. And when you have guys that are gifted offensively and have the ability to get to different spots and score from three levels like those two guys, it kind of opens up the floor for the rest of us. And when you have guys like that who are leaders and who are hunting shots and hunting scoring, then you can play off them well, and then our strengths come together, and it's really a thing of beauty when we're playing that way. And when you have guys like that, are leaders who play for one another, stuff like that it happens. It's fun to play.
You mentioned a thing of beauty, Mitch, and that's an interesting term because you're a player I've noticed covering the last couple of years that can go 10 of 10 from three in one game, go 1 of 10 for three the next game, and you're not going to be inhibited taking your next shot. What allows Mitch Ballock to play without a conscience each and every time he steps on the floor?
I learned that probably my freshman year. I was up and down a lot my freshman year, and Marcus Foster did a really good job on the court and off the court, just kind of with that no conscience mentality. Like, always, the next shot's always going in, and I'd miss shots, and he'd just be like, shoot the next one. Like, he'd always put that confidence in me. And then on top of that, my coaching staff does an unbelievable job of just, like, Coach Mack, if it's a 30-footer and I'm open, like, he gets mad if I don't shoot it. And I was going through that my freshman year. If I wouldn't shoot open shots, he started taking me out. So then I was trying to figure out, like, I was trying to get to that confidence level and not hunting shots, but not taking bad shots, and find that fine line of taking good shots versus bad shots. So my coaching staff has done an unbelievable job. And then I have unbelievable support through my 3 years of guys on the court that I play with that just give you that confidence to shoot the ball. So I just keep doing it.
Well, that's obviously something that's resonated throughout the season. You're 22-7, even after Sunday's loss against St. John's. What's the biggest thing that has to happen between now and obviously Selection Sunday for Creighton to be a team that nobody's going to want to play in the NCAA tournament?
I think we just have to stay on the course and stay in love with the process. Like Coach Max hit on falling in love with the process months ago, and we did that, and we followed the process, and we got to the level of where we're at now, 22-7, like you said. Like, I don't think that's doable without focusing on every little detail along the way during the process. So as long as we keep doing that and just take it a game at a time and don't really look, as long as we don't look to Selection Sunday and just get better every day up to Selection Sunday, I think we'll be one of those teams that no one wants a part of. So.
Well, final thing here, Mitch. Food is a very big deal on this show. If there was one meal Mitch Ballock could have, where would it be? What would it be?
That's a good one. Probably there's a place called Mahogany in Omaha, and there's a place called Jay Gilbert's. They have unbelievable steaks. I'd say the texture, you could cut the steak out of Mahogany with a butter knife. Like, that's the kind of thing. And there's no better steaks in Omaha. The East Coast, West Coast, nothing compares to Omaha steaks. So I'd say steaks, mashed potatoes, and asparagus are one of those spots, and I'm good to go.
Mitch Ballock's on his go-to spot.
I'm still looking for my Omaha T-shirt. You got one?
Omaha, somewhere in Middle America. It spreads to Middle America. Mitch, I'm going to send a text out right now to my people. We will get you that shirt. Hopefully you'll sport it during the Big East tournament. But, Mitch, congratulations on a great season. Keep doing your thing, and we thank you for dining with us here on Stuffed.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.